Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, I am the CHALL, and welcome to a daily report for Doncaster Rovers Football Club. Of course, if you Americans are watching this, it's soccer, but here we call it football. So, Doncaster Rovers Football Club in EFL League 1, not anymore, I'm afraid. We are in League 2 next season. But apparently, according to reports over the last few days, we have got one of our first signings done and dusted. Now, before we get started, make sure you do like, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video. And for now, let's get into this one. So we've known this for a good couple of days now, but Doncaster Rovers have apparently won the race to sign ex-Fleetwood Town man Harrison Biggins. Now, this has come from Alan Nixon from The Sun. So one potential target a few days ago was 26-year-old Harrison Biggins, but only a couple of days ago, it was announced by the journalist that we have apparently won the race. Now, Hartlepool were reportedly interested, Tranmere, and also Crewe Alexandra were mentioned as well. Now, Harrison Biggins started off his journey in football at Stocksbridge Park Steels, moving to Fleetwood back in July 2017. However, his time with the Cod Army has come to an end, with Fleetwood Town releasing him as part of their official retained list. Last season he made 32 appearances for Fleetwood, scoring 5 goals and assisting 2. Now, it was by far his most productive season for the club, and over his time he made 101 appearances, scoring 6 goals and adding those 2 assists. Now, Doncaster Rovers need something to propel them back into League 1 at the first chance, and they've just scored 37 goals last season, so they need a spark to fire him up. Biggins will be coming off a productive season, has scored firing goals. He would not be starting cold as such. He has experience of playing in League 2 the previous year on loan at Barrow. However, his League 1 experience would stand him in better stead to drop down division should he want to make a fresh start with Rovers. Now, like I said, there is reports going around that Harrison Biggins has, in fact, apparently won the race through Doncaster Rovers in the transfer market. So it will be plain to see whether he is actually announced as the official first transfer at the club, which seems possibly likely. Now, let's go through some stats about Harrison Biggins. So I want to give a massive, massive shout out to Craig Collins, who's a football analyst. Is on Twitter. Go give his Twitter a follow at Craig_Collins. It's great that he's done this. So he's done a bit of a stat sheet on Harrison Biggins and his rank in the League 1 stats. So shot assists 99th, shots 48th. In the rankings, you've got assists 46th, 21st in goals, 83rd in crosses, 111th in deep completion crosses, 90th in deep completions, 131st in recoveries, 124th in counter-pressing recoveries, 102nd in passing, 61st in dribbles, progressive passes 124th, progressive runs 70th, aerial duels 52nd, defensive duels 154th, and offensive duels 54th. Now, of course, his preferred foot is right, 6 yellow cards, no red cards. You look at his heat map and where he sort of plays more. You can see there as it gets warmer and warmer. He's sort of in the centre, likes to drop back to the left-hand side, likes to go forward on the left-hand side. You know, he does like to sort of monitor that forward area and backward area around that centre area, but mainly down one side. Now, obviously, Biggins will be an interesting transfer, and obviously this graph that you're seeing in front of you is, you know, linking up with other centre midfielders in League 1 this season. So he has beaten quite a lot of them on things like shots, assists, goals, aerial duels, offensive duels. But let me tell you why I think this could be a good transfer and maybe not a good transfer. There we are, ladies and gentlemen. That is Harrison Biggins. Apparently, we've won the race. What am I thinking then going into a potential future announcement this summer about Harrison Biggins? With Harrison, you know, it's great that we've got we've apparently won the race for a midfielder that's got experience. We know he's got good stats in terms of his assists, his offensive duels. He's got good aerial duels about him as a centre midfielder, which is obviously great for a physicality point of view. But if he's coming in and Bostock rejects the terms that we're going to offer him, and he's a replacement of John Bostock, I think it'll be a time will tell thing whether it would be a good idea getting rid of Bostock and bringing in Biggins as a replacement. Excuse me. If we're bringing in Biggins to have with Ben Close as alternative options to Bostock and Clayton, so they can sort of alternate between each other. So Bostock and Clayton for starters, for example. Other games will have Close and Biggins starting, either one or the other, starting with one or the other in certain games as well. Then I'd be a fan of that, you know. If we have Bostock, Clayton, or Bostock and Biggins, or Biggins and Clayton, or Bostock and Close, or Clayton and Close. Any of those combinations in the centre of midfield in a 4-3-3 formation would do me well, because I think that having Bostock and Clayton as your top names in the squad for a League Two team, then having Ben Close, who's still, in my opinion, Ben Close hasn't been given a fair shot yet because he's been injured since November, and that for me is down to the medical department. So the reason why he's been out so long. So Ben Close needs to get a full pre-season under him, which I think he will do this summer. Fingers crossed, touch wood, barring any injuries. And then you bring in Harrison Biggins. Close and Biggins learning with Bostock and Clayton as sort of the alternative options to those two. Clayton will be here for at least another 12 months. Bostock hopefully will be here on new terms. Bostock, Clayton, and then Biggins as Close. I wouldn't call them backup midfielders because I think they're still just as important. But I think Biggins and Close as your alternative options or as your secondary options that are just as important as the first primary options. I think that would be the way to go with Harrison Biggins. And I hope Harrison Biggins will be all right with that. I hope Harrison Biggins, along with Ben Close, will be all right as being the secondary alternative options to Bostock and Clayton, whether they need a rest or anything like that, but still consider and offer Biggins and Close the right amount of game time whilst being alternative secondary options to Bostock and Clayton. So that would be the way I would go down with those two, with Bostock and Clayton as well. But overall, you know, I've heard some people saying he's lazy, but I've also seen some people saying that he's quite energetic at times and has a good passing range about him. So we shall see. But overall, do I think it's a good transfer? If it brings experience and it brings some extra quality to the bench, as well as brings some quality when he comes into the squad whenever, then I'd be a fan of this transfer. Of course I would. And we all know Harris. And there's been a lot of calls that Harrison apparently is a trier. He always gives effort for every game. He always tries to give 100%. So that's always good news to hear a player with effort. And that's one thing we've absolutely lacked for the last 12, 18 months is consistent players that give 100% to the badge, to the town, to the fans, to the community every single game. You know, we might lose or draw games, but they'll still give 100% effort. We've not had that for at least the last 2 years consistently. So for me, that is something that has to change this summer, and hopefully Harrison's the start of that. But overall, should be interesting. I know there's a lot of people that will complain it's another free deal, but, you know, if he's a bargain, if he's, you know, since he's available for free, if we get some value out of him in the next 2-3 years, I'd say it would be a bargain transfer. You know, people can complain about free transfers all they want, but they also have to look at the positives of free transfers. If they come off, especially when they've got young players as well, if they come off and we sell them for a good profit in a couple of years, 3 years' time, we've got the money then to bring in replacements. But there is that excuse, though, of, well, where's the money for Whiteman and Marquise gone? And I know a lot of people are still, you know, looking at that and still, you know, questioning that. It's been perfectly clear what the money for Marquise and Whiteman has been, and we've known about it for months. The Whiteman and Marquise money's gone back into the club. It's gone back into the club. It's gone back into improving facilities, even though I've not... I mean, comment down below if I'm wrong, but I don't know what improvements I've seen to Cantley Park. But that's just my guess anyway. But, you know, we've apparently written... Well, we'll see what the debts are with the club. I know that the Meet the Owners event, they did talk about debts and things like that, and they did say they were writing them off, and they've pretty much got them written off. But, again, we don't know. But fingers crossed, you know, this transfer will be the start of a good, productive summer for McSheffrey. Give Coppinger the tools, exactly what he needs. people that have made bad decisions in the past, hopefully finally they're waking up now and realising the situation we're in, start making good decisions and start trying to get the fans back on side, because if we have another season like this season, the more fans are going to turn, and it could be the final straw for the people in charge. And that's me speaking from someone who's speaking to the people in charge of the club a good few times now. And, you know, speaking with them and speaking about what they want to do with the club. You know, I don't want them to go out like scumbags. I don't, you know, because I've got too much respect for them. But at the same time, if we have another season like we had this season, it's going to turn. And eventually, someone's got to crack. So, there we go. So, thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I'm the CHALL.